Now, your Phillies, you have the Phillies Show. Are they the best team in baseball right now? I mean, they're beating the teams they should, and they are pounding teams, and they're playing really well. Are they the best team going right now?
I think they're playing the best of any team right now. They're playing well enough to be considered the best team. I'm not sure if they're the best team, but they're pretty damn close. There's no teams without flaws. It just doesn't exist. Yes, is there a question about their bullpen and how locked down it can be? But who really has a locked down bullpen across the board? There's not many teams who can say, you know what, if I get a lead in the sixth inning and I have to cover 3 innings, I can lock it down with a 1-run lead. There's not very many teams in baseball that can do that. And so they are not that team, but they did it yesterday against the Atlanta Braves. And I know the Braves aren't swinging the bats like they typically have or have had done in the past, but they did lock it down. And so you got to give them some love for that. I think Romano's coming along. I think you're seeing Kirkering grow up a little bit. And Matt Strahm actually had the best fastball I've seen him have since the beginning of the season. That's huge for them, even though they've lost Alvarado, who's been outstanding. And that was a big blow for them. But I'm sure Dave Dombrowski's trying to get as much depth as he possibly can in that back end, and it's something to address. But I think as far as the overall team is concerned, AJ, I think the thing is I love their starting pitching. I love the depth of their starting pitching. And, you know, after Wheeler, you have twos that are almost interchangeable across the board. And that's something a whole lot of teams don't have.
All right, we talked about the bullpen. I'm kind of stealing AJ's thunder because he brought it up, but you lost José Alvarado. Alvarado testing positive for steroids is a blow to not only this team, but what about like the psyche of the team in the sense of like who steps up as a closer? Obviously, some bullpen guys will think they can step up as a closer, but you know as well as anybody, position players, front office, coaches are like, we don't have just people down there to step up as closers.
Yeah, I mean, closers don't fall out of trees. You know that, Kratzy, as well as anybody. I mean, there's not that many. There's no Mariano Rivera's out there. There are very few. I mean, a couple of guys are having some great years right now and closing some games, but can they do it year after year after year? And can they do it in the tight? Meaning, can they do it in September, October, and into November if they have to? And so that's the question. There aren't very many of those guys. I do like the way Romano has bounced back. He had a terrible start to the season, but, you know, I judge players on how they respond. So the man has responded extremely well. He's bounced back. I think he may have been tipping some pitches. I don't think that he was feeling comfortable physically, mentally, and emotionally being in his new space in Philadelphia. But I think he's starting to feel that now. He's starting to snap off some pretty damn good breaking balls now. That slider's very good. He's trusting his stuff, and he's gotten much better. Right now, he's their closer. He's the guy that's going to have to lock it down in the ninth. But there are some guys that they have in their system. I mean, Mick Abel came up and pitched extraordinarily well. Maybe the best pitch game I've seen from both sides in the whole year, and maybe one of the best I've ever seen when Skeens and Mick Abel hooked up about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. That was one of the best games I think I've ever seen pitching-wise. I was super impressed by the way Abel handled himself. Does he slide into the bullpen at some point and become a possible guy? I don't know. I like having veteran guys back there who've been through the wars. But when you have an arm like that, you never know. It's creating depth for them in their starting rotation because they now have he and maybe Painter later on. And so you're talking about, you know, building up quite a bit of depth once Nola comes back. And, you know, frankly, as far as the bullpen is concerned, they may actually throw Taijuan Walker back there into the back end of the bullpen, see what he can do. He's been pitching better. And once Nola comes back, I got to believe that Taijuan's going to be sliding into that bullpen, and Rob Thompson is going to give him a shot to pitch maybe in the 7th, 8th, and 9th and see whether he can handle pitching in more high leverage situations. Who knows?
I mean, I feel like Strom's arm's going to fall off. I feel like he pitches every game for the Phillies. I mean, they got to find someone. Every time I look up, I love Matt Strom. I'm like, man, he's pitching every game. Every time they have a lead, he's in there in the 7th and the 8th. I mean,
God bless, continues to do it because we love Matt on the show, and I love Matt personally. But I want to go back to Alvarado. When you were the GM, when you were at the Phillies, did you ever have anybody get popped for steroids?
Well, we ended up having José Romero after the World Series. We won the World Series, and he got, I guess he got nailed for it. You just never know. I mean, guys, why they do it or what the purpose is or what have you. But, the reality of it is, as a GM, you can do nothing about it. It's literally like having a guy on the IL, and you just got to move forward. No one's going to feel sorry for you, and you're just going to have to go and deal with it.
But how do you deal with it? That's my Ruben. My question is, how do you deal with it? Because we had Jim Bowden on, I think it was last week, and right when this went down, and he's like, I would not bring him back. I don't want him around. He's, he can't pitch in the postseason. I think he's a free agent at the end of the. I don't know. I think he's a free agent at the end.
Team
option. Know better. Team option. Right? He's like, I would not pick up the team option. I don't want him around. He cheated. He basically, did what he did. And he gave the normal excuses. I didn't know what I was doing. Whatever the excuses are that I don't care. But what would you do if you? This is a different than listen. I played with JC. Came up with JC. I love JC Romero. Whatever he did, he did. This is a different situation. This is a guy the Phillies have counted on for years in big situations. If you were the GM of the Philadelphia Phillies, if you're Dave Dombrowski, Sam Fold, and all the rest, do you bring him back on that team option next year?
You guys have both been in clubhouses, AJ, Kratzy, and you guys have lived it, and you've seen what that does to a clubhouse. And I think, honestly, each individual situation is different. This is a player that is extremely popular. He's very well liked. I don't know the reasons why he got popped. I don't know why he did it. But as a player, if I got my player's hat on, I'm pissed because he may have really hurt our chances to be a world champion. But he's also a really great guy. And I think that he is a guy that typically would bring the team together. He brings the bullpen together as a part of the emotion of that team. And so if this guy was an ass and he was not a good guy and he was not a character guy, then I would have a different thought process about it. But to me, and again, I'm not sitting in that clubhouse every day, but from 500 feet away and having known the player and what he means to this team, I bring the man back. But I also sort of expect him to have some sort of apology to my teammates, to my coaching staff, to whomever. But that's just me. And I guess Dave Dombrowski and Preston Mattingly and Sam Folder are going to make their own decision about that. Rob Thompson, I'm sure, will be involved in that decision as well. But this is a pretty popular guy in the clubhouse. Probably not as popular right now, but he's a guy that for me, if I was making a decision about it now, I would certainly bring him back.
Okay, and then last thing on this, what's the I don't know, the incentive? It's not the incentive. I don't know what the word is. What's the reason for guys not to do steroids then? What's the reason? Because if you're José Alvarado and you're like, okay, so I lost 80 games, I lost half a year, and then I can go be a free agent and the Phillies will bring me back because, quote, I'm a good guy, then there's no reason to not do it. If I'm a player, I'm like, well, hell, if I can sign for $100 million and I lose half a year and then they just bring me back and welcome me with open arms because, quote, I'm a nice guy, there's nothing hurting them. There's no reason not to do it. We're actually telling guys like, hey, go do this until you get caught. You might lose 80 games. You might, if you're on a bad team, especially, you're not making the postseason. But hey, I got my contract and I'm a good guy.
Well, I don't know. I guess I don't see it that way. When I say bring him back, I don't necessarily say let's sign him back or pick up that club option. I think that's a totally different discussion. I'm talking about this year after 80 games. If this guy can still help us pitch or help us win, then I want to bring the guy back because I'm all about the win, baby. And so if the guy can come back and help me win, that's one thing. If he cannot, then that's another thing entirely. And as far as the club option is concerned, that's a decision. That's a totally different decision that I think you have to have a sort of a broader picture about how to handle that. But I was just, when I was saying bring him back, I'm talking about after the 80 games, let this guy help me get to the playoffs, and then I can do whatever I want with him because it's a club option. And that's a decision that's totally different than the decision to bring him back for me, than to bring him back later on this year when he's eligible. I think it's right around August 17th or something like that. No, excuse me, not August. Is that right? Yeah, I think it's August 17th or 18th is when he's eligible to come back.
FT fam, you might have a boring, old, crusty, unpretty razor, and it might be expensive. So, AJ, should they consider another option?
Look how cool this is. Look at the color scheme. Look at it. Little sheath to hide the blades when you travel. Works great. I've been using this for a couple weeks now with Harry's. Clean, no bumps, no cuts. Works great. And you know the best part? It's a great price, especially if you use the foul territory code, Scott.
That's right. Harrys.com/foul. Guess what? You can also get yourself a no-risk trial. So if you don't like your shave, no worries. It's on Harry's. They're not worried about it. Get the edge on your shave with Harry's. Normally, the trial set is $10, but right now, you can get it for just $6 at harrys.com/foul. Use the exclusive link, harrys.com/foul, for a $6 trial set.
All right, let's go to Realmuto. Batting eighth.
Yep.
JT Realmuto batting eighth. Is this the way that JT Realmuto is going to rehab against big league teams, by figuring out his leg kick, which, if I remember right, he toyed with a leg kick for the first 2 months of last season too, and then he said, phooey, and scrapped it and became the JT Realmuto for the rest of the season. Is this the same adjustment that he tried to make last year?
I have a feeling it is. JT is very prideful, and in a lot of ways, he's a guy that sticks to his principles. He feels much more comfortable with the leg kick. Right now, the leg kick is sort of out of sync. It's making him early on the breaking stuff, late on the fastball, and he's sort of in between, and that's sort of what happens to him when he's not timing it right. And I know a lot of guys have leg kicked, and they've had a lot of success doing it. I'll do a little quick preview on a interview that we did for a podcast with Rhys Hoskins. You may have talked about this on the show. Rhys Hoskins used to have a leg kick. He has made a pretty significant adjustment and has gotten away from it, got his foot down earlier, and now, over the last several weeks, has gotten really hot. It was a difficult adjustment for him, especially when you're doing it in season, and you need to have like automatic results for that, right? As a player, but it's worked for him, and he feels comfortable with it, and he'll discuss it on our show, the Phillies Show podcast. We're going to air it, I believe, on Friday, and he'll discuss it just so as a little teaser. But it may be something that JT, since he's played with him, maybe they have a discussion. I mean, I would love for those guys to get together and talk about it and see, and have Rhys talk to JT about the benefits of a little bit more abbreviated leg kick, because it seems to be working for a guy who used a leg kick for quite some time with success, and now has seen that the adjustment is going to help him. So who knows? I know it's a tough thing to do, because it's hard to make those kind of adjustments in season. But I think Rob Thompson's doing the right thing by sliding him back and, lessening his overall need as far as, the pressure to perform offensively. He's so important to that pitching staff, handling the pitching staff, that he's worth his weight in gold doing that. You guys know how important you are behind the plate. You know how important that position is. And he's as good as anybody in baseball over the last several years of being able to do that. And so, hey, take some heat off him, slide him back into the 8-hole. Don't let him worry about his offense all that much, and let him just do his thing defensively until he gets back into a rhythm.
Ruben, last thing you talked about, this and that, but if you talked about Topper, if you're the GM of the Phillies, do you walk up to Bryce Harper and hand him an elbow guard and say, "Why the heck don't you wear one of these, dude? Like they're everywhere." I mean, so that way you don't have to get hit in the elbow and it hurt as bad anymore.
Yeah, you know what? I think he's actually worn them in the past. I think. For some reason, I know that a lot of people wear less body armor. So much more body armor nowadays than ever. I would assume that he'll use it, but if Bryce Harper doesn't bruise and he doesn't swell, so I don't know how he's going to come out of that. The 95 mile an hour, 96 mile an hour heater that smoked him. I guess probably close to that funny bone. His body probably went numb for a while. But I would assume that he will probably wear one. He's been drilled like 2 or 3 times in the last week or so, and that's not fun. I would assume they'll probably jump on the body armor at least for a little while until that's fully healed.
Okay, Ruben, appreciate you coming on. And the only reason I turned my hat around was to make sure you knew which team you traded me to, but we do appreciate it. And I want you to plug again the Phillies show for us, even though you already previewed what the Friday show is going to be on our way out here. So we appreciate you coming on, Rube.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. The Phillies show, Todd Zalecki, Jim Salisbury, and I, we just have a blast talking Phillies baseball. I think it's a great combination of a historian and Jim Salisbury, someone who's had many hats, and myself, and then Todd Zalecki sort of runs the show. We nicknamed it the Todd Pod. We love doing it. We have a lot of fun. It's a great team to cover because it's fun to watch these guys. They've been damn good for the last several years, and they're going to continue to contend as long as Dave Nabrowski's there and Rob Thompson's doing his thing. They've got some good players and some good people there. So give it a listen. Give it a watch. It's basically on everything you can possibly see on podcast, and we appreciate Foul Territory being our umbrella and being our big partners in that. So that's my plug, baby.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.